And we are live.
Kansho. Nam Wamidabits, Nam Wamidabits, Nam Wamidabits, Nam Wamidabits, Nam Wamidabits, Nam Wamidabits, Nam Wamidabits.
Good morning. Today is May 22nd, 2022, and welcome to the New York Buddhist Church's live Sunday service, streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and here in person. Today we'll be celebrating Gotan-e, the birth of Shinran Shonin. We will open our service with quiet sitting in a moment. When we do, we'll please sit up straight, gently calm your mind, and follow your breath. We'll just wait for Dai to get in. There we go. Okay. Now we'll begin quiet sitting.
Sit with your back straight, feet on the floor, one palm inside the other, and please follow your breath. Amida Butsu. Namo 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 Amida Butsu.
Our service will begin with Sambujo, the three respectful callings, followed by Hyobyakumon, aspirations led by Reverend Gary Shobo Jaskula. Today's Sutra chant is Shoshin-ge, Tan-Nembutsu, and Ekoku merit transference. And you'll find that on page 38 through 48. Vandana Ti Sarana will also be led by Reverend Gary Shobo Jaskula. Reverend Isabelle Shinjo Bernard will guide us in the reading of the Jodo Shinshu Creed. We will then have a meditative reading, again led by Reverend Gary. And today's Gobunsho is Matsudai Muchi no Sho, read by Reverend Cheryl, Joko, Ikemiya. Reverend Isabelle Shinjo Bernard will give today's Dharma message, and to end service we will sing Ondokusan and Nembutsu together. Namo Amida Butsu.
morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We respectfully call upon Tathagata Amida to enter this dojo as we joyfully scatter flowers of welcome. We respectfully call upon Tathagata Shakyamuni to enter this dojo as we joyfully scatter flowers of welcome. We respectfully call upon the Tathagatas of the 10 quarters to enter this dojo as we joyfully scatter flowers of welcome. Shusho Gotan-e, Founders Birthday Observance Gathering. We are gathered together here at the New York Buddhist Church to celebrate the birthday of our founder Shinran Shonin, who was born on May 21st, 1173, in the village of Hino near Kyoto. At age 9, he entered the priesthood at Mount Hiei and studied there until age 29. Upon leaving Mount Hiei in search of Bodhi, he encountered the Nembutsu teaching of Honen Shonin in Kyoto. Thereafter, Shinran Shonin shared the Nembutsu teachings of the primal vow of Amida Buddha. It is due to the birth of the Shonin that we are able to receive the teaching that enables us to transcend the realm of birth and death. Shinran Shonin taught that the Buddha's compassion extended to all, and that by reciting the Nembutsu with faith in Amida, one may be reborn into the Pure Land regardless of rank, class, gender, whether one is a monk or layperson, literate or illiterate. All that is needed is trust in the saving power of Amida's vow to save all beings. We celebrate his birthday today with palms together in appreciation and gratitude. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. sho ikoshu se yui setsu mida hongan kai go joku akuji gunjo kai o shin yorai nyo jutsu gon no hotsu ichinan ki ai shin fudan bon no toku nehan bon jo gyaku hosai enyu no shushin yu kai ichini senshu shin kojo shogo ino sui hamu myo an tonai shinzo shi unmu joku shinjin shinjin ten inyo niko fu unmu shige myo mu an gyaku shin ken kyo dai kyo ki soku o sho zetsu go akushu isai zen maku bon bunin mon shin nyorai guzegan butsu gon kodai shoge sha zen yin myo fundari kemida butsu ongan nen buts jaken hyoman nakushu jo shingyo shuji jin ninan nan shuchi nan mukashi indo saiken shironge chukaji chi iki shikoso kendai shoko se shoi myo nyorai honze oki shaka nyorai ryoga sen ishu go myo nan tenji ryuju dai jishu tose shitsu no zai ha umuken senzetsu dai jo mu joho shokangi ji sho an rock kenji nan roku roku shingyo igyo shido rock okunen mida butsu hongan jinen sokuji niu hitsujo niu inyo josho nyorai go oh Kinyu kudoku dai hokai, Hitsugyaku nyu dai eshusu, Tokushi renge zo zekai, Sokusho shinyo ho shojin, Yubon no ringen jinzu, Nyu shoji onji oge, Hanshi don ran ryo tenshi, Joko ran shobo satsurai, Sanzo rushi jujokyo, Bonjo sengyo kirakuho, Tenjin bo satsuran shuge, Hodo inga kensegan, Ogen neko yutari, Shoujo shi in yui shinjin, Wakuzen banbu shinjin pots, Shochi sokunehan, Hishi muryo komyodo, Shoujo kai fuke, Doshake shodo nansho, Yui myojo do katsunyu, Manzenji riki hengonshu, and mantoku go kansensho, Sanpusan shinke ongon, Zomatsuho metsudohi in, Ishozo akuchi guze, Shi annyo gai sho myoka, Zendo doku myo busoi, Koi josan yogyakuak, Gomyo myogo keninen, Kainu hongan dai chikai, Gyoja shoju kongo shin, Kyoki ichinen sogo, Yoidai to gyakusanin, Sokusho shoshi jorak, Genshin kokai ichi daikyo, Enki anyo kanisai, Senzo shushin hansenjin, Oke nido shoben ryu, Gakuju akunin yui shobutsu, Gayakuzai hiseshuchu, Bono shogen sui fuken, Dai himu kenjo soga, Honshi genku myobuki, Kyo, Renmin Zen Makubon Bunin, Shinshu Kyo Shoko Henshu, Senjaku Hongangu Akuse, Genrai Shoji Rindenge, Kechi Gijo Ishoshi, Sakunyu Jakujo Muira, Ichi Shinjin Inonyu, Gukyo Dai Jishu Shi To Josai Muhen Goku Joku Ak Dozoku Jishu Gudoshin Yui Kashin Shi Koso Namandabits, 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 namandabits. And now please rise for the Vandana Ti Sarana, which is found on page 167. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma Please be seated.
Will everyone please turn to page 12, and we will read the Jodo Shinshu Creed, number 1, first in English, and then on page 11 in Japanese. Jodo Shinshu Creed, number 1. Entrusting the vow of the Buddha and reciting the sacred name, I shall proceed through the journey of life with strength and joy, revering the light of the Buddha, reflecting upon my imperfect self. I shall strive to live a life of gratitude, following the teachings of the Buddha, discerning the right path. I shall spread the true Dharma, rejoicing in the compassion of the Buddha, respecting and aiding one another. I shall do my best to work towards the welfare of society. Namondakus. Jodo Shinshu no Seikatsu Shinjo. Shitotsu. Mihotoke no shikai o shinji, totoi mina o tonari tsutsu, tsuyoku akaruku ikinukimasu. Shitotsu, mihotoke no hikari o aoki, tsune ni wagami o kaeri mite, kansha no uchi ni hagemimasu. Shitotsu, mihotoke no oshie ni shitagai, tadashi michi o kikiwakete, makoto no minori o yorimimasu. Shitotsu, mihotoke no megumi o yorokobi, tadai ni yamimai taseai, shakai no tame ni tsukushimasu. Namondakus. Namondakus.
Our meditation reading today is from Manshi Kiyozawa. It's titled Liberation Through the Power Beyond Self, in commemoration of Shinran's birthday. When I am aware of liberation through power beyond self, the way to live my life becomes clear to me. When I forget liberation through power beyond self, the way to live my life becomes uncertain. When I am aware of liberation through power beyond self, I am seldom led astray by desire. When I forget liberation through power beyond self, I am often deluded by desire. When I am aware of liberation through power beyond self, a light brightens up whatever I do. When I forget liberation through power beyond self, darkness covers whatever I do. Ah, liberation through power beyond self. How my awareness of it frees me from this world of delusion and suffering. How it makes me enter the pure land of peace and tranquility. At this very moment, I feel myself being liberated through my awareness. If it had not been for Shinran's teaching about liberation through power beyond self, I would never have avoided confusion and despair. Thanks to his teaching, I can enjoy my life in a bright ocean filled with serene winds, even though I am in darkness filled with waves of defilement. How empty are these trivial words of my gratitude and praise for the warmth and greatness of Shinran Shonin. NYBC. And now we will have our Dharma talk from Reverend Isabelle Shinjo Bernard.
Gary, Gobunsho.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll have our Gobunsho first.
The Gobunsho today the Gobunsho are the letters of Renyo Shonin, or the 8th abbot, and these were letters that were read throughout Japan at the smaller sanghas, the communities, so that there was some, that everybody had the same teaching. And so these letters were often read at the services they had. So this is the Gobunsho, those lacking wisdom in the latter age. Laymen and laywomen in the latter age who lack wisdom should deeply rely on Amida Buddha with singleness of heart, entrusting themselves to the Buddha single-mindedly and unwaveringly for their emancipation, without turning their thoughts to other matters. However deep and heavy their karma may be, Amida Tathagata unfailingly saves them. This is the essence of the 18th vow that assures our birth in the Pure Land through the Nembutsu. Once our heart is thus settled, we should say the Nembutsu, whether awake or asleep, for as long as we live, humbly and respectfully. I'll read it now in Japanese. Matsudai Muchi no saikeshi ju no nanyo taran tomogara wa kokoro hitotsu ni shite Amida Buddha fukaku tanomimaerasete Sarani yo no kata e kokoro furazu Isshin ikko ni butasuke tamae tomo san shujo ba Tatoe zaigo wa jinju nari tomo kanarazu mida nyorai wa sukui mashimasu beshi これすなわち第18の念仏往生の誓願の心なり核のごとく献上しての上には寝ても覚めてももう命のあらん限りは 正明念仏すべきものなりあなかしこあなかしこマンダプス
So thank you, Cheryl Sensei, for that beautiful rendition of the Gobunsho today. And now we will have the Dharma message by Reverend Isabelle Shinjo Bernard for Gotan-e.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all here. As we say here in New York, is it hot enough for you? Happily, I think it's supposed to come down tomorrow. Get a little cooler. So today we meet to celebrate the life and the legacy of Shinran, who we are told is the founder of our Jodo Shinshu school. But was he really? We reverently call him Shinran Shonin, or Saint Shonin. But was he really? We think of him as an enlightened, larger-than-life human being. But was he really? Who was Shinran really? In case you're wondering where in the world I'm going to with this line of thought, please rest assured that I deeply respect Shinran's Dharma. But today I'm going to talk about Shinran in a different way than we usually do, not by blandly citing facts about his life history, his studies, his accomplishments, or even his titles. Today I'd like to share my thoughts on Shinran the human being, Shinran the man, demystifying the myth, as it were. So Shinran was a man of his times, but also a rebel against the status quo in society. He was a creative thinker who, in defiance of the conventional ways of living the strict, celibate life of a spiritual seeker, founded a way of practice which aligned both with his own human needs and also his deeply compassionate nature. I greatly admire Shinran, but perhaps not for the usual reasons. I love the character of this remarkable person who is creative, honest, self-effacing, deeply compassionate, but also unequivocally, unabashedly human. Shinran as a monk is praised for his diligence and sincerity. However, the fact that he struggled with the celibacy inherent to monastic life is usually glossed over. We go straight up to the fact that he became sometime either during or after his expulsion from religious robes and subsequent exile to Echigo, neither monk nor lay, by marrying a shiniko, who is a deeply religious woman, sometimes called the Nanashini. They had 7 children together. So Shinran had both the experience of living as a celibate monk in a traditional, hierarchically structured, politically aligned temple, but also the experience of living a family life, a householder's life. This was certainly a radical shift in lifestyle after spending 20 years on Mount Hiei, where monastic life was a continuum of study, chanting, practice, but the necessities of life, food and shelter, were provided for. Leading the life of a householder, albeit one who could provide religious services and teachings to his neighbors and receive their support, provided Shinran insights into the basic quality of life with all its pleasures and suffering of those who were not so privileged as he had been, growing up in a family of minor nobility and then in the protected environs of the most highly placed temple in Japan. I cannot help but think that it was in part due to living this simple life amongst people who were not of the upper classes that bolstered Shinran's compassionate desire to share the Nembutsu teaching widely without discriminating against them or aligning himself in an advantageous way with the wealthy, well-connected elites. Shinran truly lived as Ondobo Ondogyo, considering himself a fellow spiritual seeker, a fellow practitioner, finding in the peasants, fishermen, and even in women, such as the Shini, a capacity to accept and readily live within the Nembutsu teachings without rigorous academic debates or concerns about the bureaucratic politics that pervaded monastic and court life at the time, weaving them together inexorably. He not only understood that the compassionate vow of the Bodhisattva Dharmakara was established to save all beings, but he lived this as truth, defying the convention of his time, whereby access to Buddhist rituals and teachings were limited to few, either within temples or in wealthy homes. He shared the Nembutsu path widely with all who sought spiritual support for their lives. Shinran as a human being was not perfect and had no qualms about admitting this. Rather than self-praise himself for the rigorous practices he had undergone while a monk, he admitted to being not only unenlightened, but called himself Gutoku Shinran, foolish, bald-headed Shinran. By foolish, he was confessing to being as human as anyone else, despite his training, beset by the same desires, attachments, and emotions as anyone else, lacking a pure, virtuous mind, and incapable of actions that were free of self-benefiting. He reveals this in this verse from Shozo Matsu-asan, Hymns of the Dharma Ages. Although I take refuge in the Pure Land way, it is hard to have a true and sincere mind. The self is false and insincere. I completely lack a pure mind. Wow. And yet, it is due to this complete honesty that I am so drawn to Shinran, to his way of understanding Onembutsu, and am able to deeply accept that we are okay, just as we are, in Amida's eyes. For Shinran truly shows us this in his own lives, accepting his flaws and baggage, and then letting go to rest in Amida's compassionate embrace, where spiritual fulfillment is assured. Wow. Our bono, or blind passions, are not easy to see or accept on our own, are they? Having Shinran by my side, by our side, is terribly reassuring, isn't it? I most assuredly find it to be so, and am consequently so very grateful. As a scholar, Shinran worked well into his 80s to preserve the teaching of single practice Nembutsu, assuring that the lineage continued for generations. He carefully and strategically compiled the Kyogyo Shinsho, whose actual title is Kenjoro Shinjitsu Kyogyosho Monrui, a monrui being a collection of passages. So the title actually means a collection of passages revealing the true teaching, practice, and enlightenment of the Pure Land Way. The textual knowledge, familiarity with the classical Chinese language, religious understanding required to interpret sutras, etc., that Shinran needed in order to select, delineate, and create this collection is pretty vast and wide-ranging. And without his efforts to firmly establish the teachings he received from Honen, based in a lineage that could not be easily contested, we might not be here in this temple today. The persecutions of Nembutsu followers from the political and religious elite were quite violent, and Honen's grave was even desecrated by those contesting the growing popularity of the teachings amongst the common people. So without Shinran's far-sighted and devoted, committed efforts, who knows? The other point to remember is he did not do this to establish Jodo Shinshu as a separate school. He considered himself a disciple of Shakyamuni and a student of Honen's, not putting himself forward as the founder of a new school concerned only with passing down what he had found meaningful for awakening his own spiritual understanding of life as it truly is. Personally, I am so grateful to have encountered Shinran in my life. The person who I first got to know in Tanisho is forever encouraging me, a fellow foolish being, to have hope that despite my many faults and lacks of virtues, I am still the object of Amida's compassion. His voice echoes in my ears, saying, "Just say the Nembutsu and be saved by Amida. Entrust yourself to the primal vow." To close, let's read together Shinran's words from Shoshin-ge in English, found on page 57. So if everyone could turn to page 57 of your service book. The cloud of light is unhindered like open sky. There is nothing that impedes it. Every being is nurtured by this light, so take refuge in Amida, the one beyond conception. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Thank you, everyone. Stay cool and drink a lot of water today.
So thank you very, very much, Reverend Isabelle, for that wonderful, wonderful Dharma talk, very meaningful. And we should all think about what Shinran has meant to us. And now please rise for the Gathas, Ondokusan, and Nembutsu.
You'll find Ondokusan on page 218 in your service book, page 218. And now page 169 in your service book.
Please be seated. Okay, so now it is time for everyone's favorite part of the service, the acknowledgements and announcements. And the first acknowledgement I'd like to make again is to Isabelle Sensei for the beautiful Dharma talk on Shinran Shonen's life and really what he means as a guide to us, as a teacher to us. And also to Cheryl Sensei for helping with the service today, doing the beautiful Gobunsho, And our greeter today is Hiroki Hasegawa. Thank you so much. The piano was played by Nobuko-san, Nobuko Kodama-san. And our crack IT team today is David Brady and David Brady. And thank you very much for keeping us on the air, as it were. And also for the flowers on the altar, an anonymous donor named Ruth provided those. And the primary thanks, as every week, is to you for coming here. You know, whether you're here in person or whether you're at home watching on the video, thank you so much. You know, it means a lot. If we weren't all together, there would be no need for service, you know. It's because we're together. We all make the service, not just the people on the Nijin. Everybody. So, thank you so much. And as far as announcements go, today is the Sokai. So that will take place after, and that's the annual meeting of the temple, and that will take place after the service today. And we hope that some can attend. And this is a good time also on Shinran's birthday to talk about, I mean, as Isabelle said in her Dharma message, you know, if a few things had been different in Shinran's life, we might not be here today. And so we should reflect on the fragility of the temple, because we've taken a real hit during COVID. And so we need members. We need you to, A, keep coming if you have been coming, but we need new members too. So try to, you know, talk it up. And it's not really terribly expensive considering what's going on out there for gasoline prices, let's say. You can have a few tanks, you know, you can be a member of the New York Buddhist Church. And I encourage you to do that. And we really do need your dana, your financial support. And there are ways to make financial support. The forms are online on the website. And also, there is a PayPal link on the website also, and you can donate that way. Or you can send us a check. You know, we like money, or cash, all of it. But we encourage you to do so, and we are very grateful for any support we can get. And that is it that I can think of. Anything for next month?
On Memorial Day? Memorial Day.
Yes, Memorial Day. Memorial Day is Monday the 30th. It's the Monday of the next weekend. And Isabelle and Cheryl are going to the Cypress Hills and to Mount Olivet Cemetery. Mount Olivet is the interfaith service, JAA sponsored, and the ambassador of Japan will be there. That's one service, and then they're coming over to Cypress Hills, to the mausoleum there, and columbarium, and they will hold a service for our past members who are interred there. So if you are interested,
NYBC 332.
yeah, send a message to NYBC 332 or go online. So that's that. And anything else?
It's NYBC332@gmail.com.
NYBC332@gmail.com. You would know that anyway, okay? So let us have a closing gassho. Remembering Shinran Shonin in this special day, and how much we owe to him, and how grateful we all are. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. And after the service concludes, you can do Oshoko.